wa ta'ala made it halal. In comparison to the different societies other than Islam, we talk about different marital status. Some of them, they are looking outside the home. Some of them, they are cheating about their spouses. Some of them, they commit adultery and everywhere. Some of them, they still have monogamous relationship with their wives. That's commendable. But there are certain circumstances that given a choices for a Muslim man to acquire. One of them, if his first wife is not able to take care of the children for sickness, or is it physical or mental?
Or maybe not able to give birth.
Or to give birth, which is another one. No, I'm trying to touch to marry in order to raise his children, or to help in raising his children. But also he has another choice to marry if his wife cannot bear children. And also there is so many reasons. It's regulated. It's not open.
The important thing
field.
is to say, one of the things the scholar says, he should let the first wife know that he will marry again and give her an option. Does she want to stay married to him, or maybe she wants to be divorced? So she has an option. The other thing, and it's more important as I live in this society, and as I always said, it's a great society. Most men, they're happy with one woman. But you see in this society here, there's a man who's married and for whatever reason, he has a mistress on the side. For whatever reason. I'm not saying whatever, I believe it's wrong, but a lot other people might tell you it's right. For whatever reason, has a mistress on the side. So in this case, maybe he needed something extra. Islam says, if you do need this, protection for that woman is you marry her. Right? It's protection for her, because if he doesn't marry her, she doesn't inherit, her children are not recognized. But here, Islam recognizes that some of the men has this urge for whatever, and I call it nature. Some are happy with one wife and they're stable, and some need more, and Islam regulated this. Rather than tell him go in the back door and have a mistress, and if you look in this relation, the wife is protected. It's not right, I'm not saying it's right, but the wife is protected, the man is protected, the mistress is not. When Islam says you marry her, has protected her and given her rights that she would not have otherwise. There's so much to discuss about this argument, but it is protection for the woman, not for the man. And says gives man extra privileges. It's this case totally protection for that woman, which is a mistress. Now she's called the wife, and she's protected and have rights.
Which is, in other terms, the word protection, it comes under the category of takreem, honoring.
Yes.
So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala honored women.
Yes.
And from that prospect, we came with terms. It says protection and inheritance and all of those things, and her rights are going to be protected too. So in order to achieve that position in Islam, there are certain regulations, there are certain restrictions. It's not an open case, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to protect the whole society from extra venues of adultery.
And if you look in the Muslim world, how many men are really married to more than one?
The percentage
Most men, very low. Most men could not even afford to marry one wife.
Right.
If you look, and that's around the world, not just the Muslim world, people are not getting married anymore. And if you look at who's married to two women, very, very low percentage. And it goes more and more down. So we're talking about an issue that's really not an important issue or a non-issue. And, you know, there's a lot more to talk about and more important issues that we deal with. And one of the examples is this hadith that says, one of the Muslims went to visit his brother in Islam. And when he knocked on the door, the wife opened, and she didn't look very happy. She looked kind of neglected, you know, she neglected herself. So he asks her, what's wrong? She said, your brother spends all his time fasting during the day and worshipping Allah during the night. And so Muslims are very perceptive. He knows. So the man who's fasting during the day and praying all night is not taking care of his wife. So he tells her, don't worry, I'll discuss it with him. And then he spends time with the man, and when he sees the man fasting and getting up, he tells him, you know, Allah has rights on you, your body has rights, and your family has rights. And you have to take care of all these responsibilities. But if you analyze the story, he did see the woman, and he noticed she's neglected herself, and so there is much more involved than just isolate the woman or whatnot. This is early Islam. I know those who oppose it gives you this was different circumstances.
Well, a lot of people, they are opposing the concept that women should be isolated from men in one area. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not say that you have to separate women totally from men and they're not going to be raise their voices, but Allah allowed it.
Yeah.
So in order to prevent further dishonoring of women, Allah said, allowed women to speak, allowed, it's against the misconception of a lot of people saying women's voice is awra or women's voice not allowed to be raised. No, they were allowed to talk, but behind walls or behind something to divide. Or
only the wives of Prophet Muhammad were told they have to separate. But all other women, they mixed in the society and they talked. And the best example I tell people is in the masjid. A lot of masjids, you go in today, the mosques, and there is a wall between women and men. And you ask all these pious great guys, was this wall at the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? And the answer is no. So I tell them, why do you take it upon yourself? Prophet Muhammad didn't see it important or see it that it is a part of religion to put a wall between men and women. Men sat in the front rows, women sat in the back rows, and there's no wall. Who are you to put that wall? Who are you to tell me that this is the right thing? Because the Prophet Muhammad, if he had thought it is the right thing, he would have not hesitated for a second to do that wall. And yet a lot of people say, but times has changed. The great thing about Islam, it deals with all times and all ages. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if he would have seen, he would have told us this. And yet we put these walls. It's artificial walls.
It's also, again, the problem is lack of education about Islam. And if we all educate our women, educate ourselves first, to allow women to be educated in Islam or in Deen, that's part of her right. That's part of women's right. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala honored women, so gave us the responsibility to educate them.
And a big argument among some Muslims is, should a woman be allowed to go to the mosque or not? And the discussion is about two prophet sayings. One said, don't stop the woman from going to the masjid or the mosque. And the other one, a woman came to Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam and told him, where is the best place for me to pray? He said, in your home, in your house, in a room, this is better. And they have taken these two arguments against each other, where they complement each other. The first rule, women are allowed and should go to the masjid to pray. A second rule, and that's my own interpretation, but that's how I see it. What if a woman has a child and she has to take care of this baby? Is she better off going to the masjid or staying home? But going to the masjid, as we know, is more reward. So Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam wants to comfort her. If you stay at home, you get sawab too. That's my interpretation, that they don't contradict each other. Let them go, let them join the society, be part of the society. But for the one who couldn't, maybe because her husband is a jealous husband, he doesn't like her to go out, Rasul is comforting her and telling her, if you pray at home, you get all the best sawab. Subhanallah.
Subhanallah. Just may I do some...
Yes, go ahead.
Shed the light on the first hadith you just said.
Yes.
Literally, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam is asking us not to take the right of a woman.
Yes.
Not to decide, to take her right to go to the masjid.
Yes.
It means we don't have that authority to prevent her from going to the masjid.
It's totally up to her.
So this is the first hadith.
We're running out of time. I know it's a very interesting topic, and there's so much to talk, inshallah, in the future. However, again, I ask you, visit our website, help us support this show going. Write to us. If you'd like to be on the show, please let us know or tell us about topics you'd like us to discuss. And inshallah, we'll get back to you. Would love to hear from you. Give us your comments, your feedback, your critiques. And good night. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.